don't feel like you have to write everything down. If you want to, you're welcome to, but the most important thing is to understand all the concepts. Okay?
I'm just going to be nice.
Okay, cool. And it's just audio, right? Okay.
And the screen.
Okay. All right, so you guys can you guys see it okay? Okay. Is it shaking for you guys a little? Or no?
I mean, you're mentioning, yeah. I'm okay.
It's like, do you see it?
If you look at the order, you can see it. It's okay. Don't look at it for too long.
Okay, inshallah, let's begin the midterm review. So as I was telling some of you guys, what we'll do is we have this key. It'll also be posted online. So you don't have to write everything down, but what we'll do is we'll go over each question, and anyone that has a question about why points were taken off or some concept that they didn't get, we'll, go through it together. So this is page number 1. Everything was worth 3 points. So a lot of people miss points because they didn't put the vowel markings. So every single vowel marking counted. So that was a huge loss for a lot of people. The other thing, we didn't grade on, how perfect you wrote, but we did grade on spelling. So if you spelled a word wrong, you probably got it wrong. We did grade on translation, of course. If you translated it wrong, it's incorrect. And then we did grade on the markings. More points were taken off if you missed a rule, like, for example, if it was an alif lam and you put, if the word had an alif lam and you put the tanween marking, the double markings on it, more points were taken off because that's a rule you didn't understand. Or if it was one of those special prepositions that cause the word after it, the noun after it, to become, have a kasra. If you didn't understand that rule, more points were taken off. So that's essentially how it was given, but a lot of partial credit was given, so I think most people did okay on the test. And if you didn't, I'm happy to go over everything with you guys so that, you'll be able to better understand it. So the number 1, you had to look at the picture and answer the question. So man hada, who is this? The answer is, this is a student. Hada talibun. So you couldn't have, if you put an alif lam in front of it, the talib, that would be wrong because there was no the. If you made it light, like if you didn't put the tanween, that would be wrong. So it's very important that you did that. If you didn't put the vowel markings on the hada or the dhalika, that would be wrong. Ma dhalika, what is that? That is a house. Dhalika baytun. What is that? That is a boy. Some people put that as a teacher. We gave credit for that too. So dhalika rajulun or dhalika ustadun. Yes.
On hada and dhalika, we didn't ever learn it in class with the fatha over the dal. But then I didn't get it marked wrong. I mean, not that I want wrong, but
some people, sometimes we took 1/4 of a point off if you missed a small marking, but technically there is a fatha over the dal. Yeah, there's always some marking, or there's a sukun. And usually when it's the first letter, it'll have some sort of marking. Otherwise, it'll be impossible to pronounce.
And is this going to be the same thing on the final?
Mm-hmm. You have to put yeah, and as you guys get, more proficient in the language, no one does this. No one puts markings on everything. But now, since we are learning, it's very important that you do put the markings because there's so many rules associated with the markings, and we just want to make sure that you're understanding how to pronounce a letter. It's not, it's a fatha, not a kasra. Like, we want to make sure your comprehension is there, and that's why we care about the markings. Because imagine if in English we wrote a word without the vowels. It would be, you would know what it was saying, but it would be kind of, it would be a shortcut basically, and so that's what we want to avoid. So any questions about these 3? This was pretty straightforward. The next one was ahada baytun, dhalika ma'un, la hada talibun, la dhalika baytun. So the question number 1 was, Is this a girl? And the answer, is this a house? Sorry. And the answer was no, this is a student. And the second one was, is this water? No, this is a house. So that was essentially it. It was a yes/no question, pretty straightforward. Any questions about that? Everyone understanding it so far? Okay, so the first page is pretty easy. The next part is making sure you put the vowel markings. So هل ذلك بيت وهذا مسجد؟ لا هذا بيت وذلك مسجد. So ذلك, you understand the markings. بيت, there's no alif lam, so that's why it has to have two markings, not one. Masjidun has to have two markings, not one, because there's no alif lam. And then the translation was, is that a house and this a masjid? No, this is a house and that is a masjid. Anyone have any questions? Okay, so pretty straightforward. The next one is another question. هل القلم صغير والكتاب كبير؟ لا الكتاب طويل والقلم قصير. So again, the halil rule, when there's an alif lam, the sukun becomes a kasra on the lam. Saghirun is a tanween because there's no alif lam. Kabirun is a tanween because there's no alif lam. The places that there is a alif lam, there is no tanween. It's just a single vowel marking. So that's essentially the rules. And I think most people got that. That was pretty straightforward. The translation is the pen small and the book big? No, the book is long and the pen is short. The next one, Al-ma'u thaqilun wal-baytu kabirun wal-kitabu saghirun. So again, same thing. The words that don't have the alif lam have the tanween. The ones that do have the alif lam do not have the tanween. There's no other special rules other than that. It's just memorizing the vocab. And the translation is the water is heavy. Oh, I forgot the word heavy. The water is heavy and the house is big and the book is small. So you can just see that.
You can practice this one with the correct answers. So
exactly. But just in number 3, there should be the water is heavy and the house is big. So you can add heavy. I forgot that word. Okay, so the next part. So this is where it started getting a little bit more challenging for everyone. So we'll go through this. So we basically needed to just translate from English to Arabic. So number 1 was, is he a Muslim? No, he is a disbeliever. This is a yes/no question, so it can begin with hal, or it can begin with the alif.
No, that's the wrong page.
Is that the...
Maybe it's one more thing.
Okay, then is this the second page?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's out of order. We'll fix that before we post it. Okay, so number 1 was, is the mosque and the house near? No, the mosque is near and the house is far. So this is a yes/no question, like we were talking about. It begins with a hal or an alif. So in this case, we chose a hal because it's preferred over an alif because the next word begins with an alif. So halil masjidu wal baytu qaribun? لا المسجد قريب والبيت بعيد. So essentially it's plug and chug. You have to know the vocab. You have to know that when you have to know how to make sentences, right? So the mosque is near is al-masjidu qaribun. Both of them don't have alif lam. Only one has alif lam, the other one doesn't. And we went over that in the review session. The words that do not have alif lam have 2 markings. The ones that do have alif lam have 1 marking. So those were essentially the rules. The second one was, any questions so far? Making sense? Okay. I know, I agree. It was small space, inshallah. Yeah, I agree. It was small. Yeah.
Same thing with me. Didn't have enough time because in the beginning try to fit it better.
Yeah.
You have to slow down and then.
No, I agree. There was small space for some of the questions. Inshallah, going forward, it won't be. That wasn't something that we paid attention to. So it's, but inshallah, going forward, it should be okay. So the second one was, is this a book and that a pen? No, this is water and that is a book. So essentially, is you have to know your vocab. It's a yes/no question. So this time we began with an alif. هذا كتاب وذلك قلم لا هذا ماء وذلك كتاب. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is the pen heavy and the house light? No, the pen is light and the house is heavy. So again, it's هل القلم ثقيل والبيت خفيف لا القلم خفيف والبيت ثقيل. So again, same rules. It begins with, it's a yes/no question, so it begins with the hal. The tanween versus not to tanween, same rules. Do you have a question? No? Anyone have a question? Okay, so far it's making sense? Okay, so the next one is easier because it's translating Arabic to English, so that's always easier. And we had to put the vowel markings, so if you didn't put the vowel markings properly, then that was taken off. The vowel markings were pretty straightforward. Al-qamaru al-thaqilu qadimun ba'idun. So the translation is the heavy moon is old and far. Al-qamaru al-thaqilu, it's a noun adjective relationship because they match. Remember how we talked about if they match? So that's why it's the heavy moon, because heavy is an adjective of moon in this case. But the other ones don't match, so it's not an adjective. It's the predicate of the sentence. So I'm sure there is. Is that better?
Yeah, is there shadda on top of that?
Yes, there is supposed to be. الثقيل, yeah. الثقيل. Okay, so the next one is Musa Nabiyun Muslimun. Musa has the ending is with that alif maksura, that special alif, and when that ending is there, it always stays that way. It never changes. Remember how we talked about it? So Musa is one of those special words. And it was also a part of the review packet that I gave you. So if you forget, you can always go back to the review packet. So that's why Musa had there's no tanween or anything. So Musa Nabiyun Muslimun, and the other ones do have a tanween. And you guys understand when I say tanween what that means, right? Okay. So the translation is Musa is a Muslim prophet. Does everyone get that translation? Okay, cool. Everyone? Okay. Al-Muslimu al-Jadidu mu'minun qawiyyun. Okay? This is also same rules. It's new Muslim, so new is an adjective of Muslim. You see Jadid matches Muslim, in the characteristics, so we talked about that. Do you have a question? No? Okay. Anyone? No questions? Okay. That's cool. We'll go through this fast then. Okay. Is this large enough?
Self-explanatory, what mistake we made, we can just compare it, so.
Okay. As long as if you have specific questions, that's why I'm here. Okay. So the next one was translating from English. English to Arabic. So Muhammad is a strong believer. So Muhammadun mu'minun qawiyun. So Muhammad is one of those, even though it's a name, it's one of those names that can, carry